Well, as I said in the notes to the piece, the Allhallows is an archaic word for All Saints' Day, which is November 1st, but it's more familiarly understood as the day after Halloween for people who don't commemorate this day. And I think it's the 2nd of November, which is the Day of the Dead in Mexico, and that's a holiday that's more and more familiar to people. So I had in mind the whole variety of things that you associate with fall in the state of Wisconsin. Now, all of these things have to do with this kind of gray area in perception between the natural and the supernatural, the predictable and the uncanny. People have got, there's this change of seasons going on, and people have this uneasiness, which I think you can see in the animal world too. I mean, animals are getting ready for something at that time. And for me, this became an image which gathered a lot of other musical ideas to it in the late 1990s, but I never had a chance to write the piece that was going to be associated with this title. And that piece that never got written was going to exist in two forms: solo vibraphone and large orchestra. And how I was going to get from one to the other was going to be a feat. Well, so the plan now is to build on this piece and make a symphonic structure where in each movement, and there will be 3, we'll revisit the same ideas but with more instruments and with a different emphasis. So that's what your 16th notes need to be. Like just very meticulous. Beep, 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 beep. Like there's something really important about that. Having played piano my whole life, I didn't want to write solo piano music because I honestly believed that everything had been done. So I did some song accompaniments when I was an undergraduate, but I really steered clear of it. Then I got to a certain point where I realized I was not going to be getting performances, so I had to write for myself. And it turned out this was a great tool to not just get my music out there, but improve my own performance standard, and it's really kind of driven everything I've done in music for 25 years. And what's odd about asking about the percussion connection is I was writing percussion music right when I was starting to write solo piano music. So I think I approached them exactly the same way in terms of the process that I was going through. The biggest problem is that the whole concept of pitch, even in pitch percussion, is different from piano. You have to factor in these quite different timbres and spectra that the percussion instruments have, and sometimes the A is an A natural, and sometimes it's just a note called A natural, and that's just the way it is. So you have to use some imagination and not be too committed to the pitches you've written in terms of pitch definition, and understand that you're creating an activity for the player to do, and then there will be pitch information, but it's not going to be utterly predictable as with the piano. You start at measure 81, please.
Yeah.
All I need to do is hear it once. My interest in micro-tonality really has to do with the fact that before I ever had any music classes, I was teaching myself about music history and music theory, and I came across texts by Paul Hindemith and Ferruccio Busoni and Charles Ives that dealt with either ratio tuning or divisions of the half step. And you see, there are two ways to achieve micro-tonality. And one is that if you use ratios to tune rather than a logarithmic division of the octave, you're going to get fractions of equal tempered intervals that are in the cracks. So that's micro. But the other way to achieve micro-tonality is to split the half step according to some scheme. And that's what was really interesting to composers at the beginning of the 20th century. They were thinking, well, we'll get more tones and we'll be closer to some kind of natural intervals because we'll have more options.